What's up, crew? Welcome to Filming in Progress, the show that takes you backstage into the world of local businesses and the people who make them shine. We're thrilled to welcome Danielle Paul, a visionary entrepreneur blending design passion with sharp business acumen. With 20 years of experience, she inspires through positivity and teamwork. Danielle, where are we?
We're in my office at the headquarters of Designer's Edge and a few other companies.
A few other companies. Tell me about that.
So Designer's Edge, Ateliers Jacob, Quarter Park Management, and Westfolio. So we're at the headquarters in Calgary, Alberta, and right now you and me are currently in my office.
Love it. Mm-hmm. At what point in your life were you first exposed to business or entrepreneurship?
Oh my God. I was very young and I used to play Office Under the Stairs. So my mom owned a window coverings company, and so I grew up in the industry, I guess, as a young child, and she didn't buy us toys or very many toys. I think we had one Barbie, but for me and my sister, she always used to bring home like her old invoices, her old envelopes, her old like the Visa machines. And so we had this little setup under the stairs. We had like little miniature desks. And so we played Office Under Stairs for hours and hours and hours. And I would have been exposed to that like when we were like 6, 7, 8 years old, because that's what we played. That's what we knew.
So most people played with dolls and that sort of thing, and you played with credit card machines.
Correct. Yes. Rolodexes, invoices. Yeah, it was fun. It was like I remember that doing that with my sister like for hours and hours on end.
Amazing. Did you know growing up that you were going to be a founder?
No, I did not. Because growing up, I actually was very interested in broadcasting, which is a deviation from what I do now. So no, I didn't know that growing up.
How did you first get into broadcasting then?
So I always knew I played Office Under the Stairs. I always knew I wanted to do broadcasting. I wanted to try broadcasting. It was something that I'd always wanted to do. So I ended up going to Mount Royal when it was a college. It's now a university. So Mount Royal College, and I took the broadcasting course there. About halfway through, our professor had said, hey, anybody that's interested in applying, TSN is having this internship. And anybody that's interested should apply. People from all of Canada are going to apply. And you might as well do it if you're interested, because it's a really great opportunity. So, a number of people in our class and in that program applied, and then a number of people all over Canada applied. And so I ended up getting the internship. And that was kind of my career path at that point, was to kind of really dive into broadcasting and communications and see if I was interested in that.
Mm-hmm. And were you long term? Obviously not.
No, I thought I was, and I thought that was going to be my path. And as you know, paths change often when you're young and you really get into something and know like the inner workings of it and if you are going to enjoy it or not. So no, my path changed. I was in it for just over a year.
A year only. So,
yeah.
And then what happened after that point?
So I went to Toronto. So TSN is based out of Toronto. So I went to Toronto, and I think part of it was I went to Toronto. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any friends. And I ended up living in Scarborough, which some people if they're from Toronto, they may tell you it's not the loveliest place to live. But the TSN building was off the 401 in McCowan, so it was really close. And I was like, oh, this is great. It's close to where I work. And so as I internshipped, it was great. I did I was an EA, so I would write the scripts for the anchors. So I'd watch a game or like a hockey game or a tennis match, or could be a golf match or anything like that, golf game. And then I would decide, what the storyline was going to be, and then I write the scripts for the anchors and then take it to editing and so forth and so forth. And it was great at the beginning, and it was great for the whole duration of it. But I think it just got very repetitive to me. And you're in this dark newsroom, which I really struggled with because I'm like light and bright, and I like to talk to people, and I like to be interactive, and I like to collaborate. And it wasn't a super collaborative environment. I think part and part because potentially I was a female in a very man's-driven world, who unfortunately I think at that time in like the early 2000s, a lot of the people there felt that maybe I was coming in to take their job or something like that. So they weren't overly helpful to me, like in some cases. So I kind of had to find my own path. And I'm a very, like I said, a collaborative person. So I like to work on things and understand things and like, spitball things with like my colleagues and stuff like that. And it just wasn't really, there was a couple people there, but it wasn't really a great environment for that. So kind of stuck to myself and I go like, is this really where I want to be? After my internship, they offered me a job. So I took the job and stayed there because the whole goal that I wanted to be was reporter and anchor. Like that's kind of what I was working towards. And at that time, women were just kind of coming up to being anchors and reporters in the sports world there. They'd always been news anchors and stuff like that. But I think I had a really great chance to grow into that role. But again, I just kind of sat back and I looked at it and I didn't love where I lived. I didn't have any friends. I didn't have any family and I'm super social. So that was also a problematic for me. I really wanted to be around people that I loved and I missed back home and I missed my family and my friends. So ultimately after another like 6-8 months after they hired me on, I made the decision to leave broadcasting behind.
Did you learn anything in that year that you apply to your businesses now?
That's a good question. I think just the whole, in that year and probably prior to that, like through the communications and the broadcasting, like education, I think broadcasting is important because I think a lot of what business is, it is networking, it's relationships, it's not so much selling yourself. People use the term selling yourself. And I don't want to say like, I'm never in it to sell myself. I just go out and do what I do. And if people want to do business, with me or with us or whatever, then that's great and that's a bonus. But the broadcasting, I think, piece is really great in terms of it opened up another world to me to see marketing. And again, communication is such a big part of what we do as business owners and as teams and as leaders. So it was effective in that way to kind of take me to the next level. I'm not sure if the actual work that I did at TSN would be relevant to what I do now. I think the overall broadcasting communications part was helpful. So that was helpful, but I don't know if editing sports, hockey games was super helpful.
But being social, right, and being out there, and
yeah,
that sort of thing. I love it. Okay, and so you come back to Calgary, and then what happens next?
So I come back to Calgary, and I was like, oh boy, what am I gonna do, right? There's actually I had considered is there any jobs in broadcasting here in Calgary? But it's not. Everything's really based out of Toronto, and then in Calgary it's just kind of like satellite offices where we have reporters and stuff like that. So I quickly realized I don't think that's my path, and I just don't want to be boxed into this kind of 9 to 5 world or 10 to 7 world or whatever the hours were going to be. It was a very high pressure environment back then too. I'm in a very high pressure environment, but it's just different. So when I came back, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And I ended up, my mom still had her window coverings business. So I ended up going to work for her and going to work in that space. It was called Blinds Plus back then. And I felt like I got doing sales, like window covering sales, like selling blinds and drapery. So, and then I realized I'm pretty good at this. I'm getting a lot of sales. I've got some repeat business. And then I started dealing with builders, and that's kind of where everything took off.
Okay, I love that. Okay, so you start selling, you start making all these relationships with the people that are probably now still people that you deal with?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Some of those are 15 plus 20-year relationships.
Wow.
Yeah.
What makes a good relationship? How do you make a relationship at those early stages when you're selling windows or window coverings? Sorry,
yeah.
Right. That still thrive today.
Oh, trust, integrity, ethics. I think working hard. I can think of some builders that I still have relationships with today that I would have just done anything to figure it out. I remember working till 2 a.m. Because at the time, when I started doing window coverings and I started doing sales, it kind of evolved into setting up these design centers. for builders. And so what happened, like 20 years ago and stuff, we didn't have the same kind of big design centers that we do now with the builders that we have in Calgary. So you would have a project and there would be, I remember one we did on a golf course. And so we ended up like renting a space in the clubhouse and turning that into a design center. And design center, I mean like a client comes in and like picks the selections for their home. It was much more basic back then than what it is today. We didn't have Google and we didn't have Pinterest and we didn't have all these mood boards and all these things and changing styles and kitchen cabinets, and they're so extensive. So we didn't have that. So it was much easier to set up kind of like a mini design center, let's say. We do it in like a trailer, or we do it in a bedroom of a show home or something like that. It's not extensive like it is today. And so, you know, I got an opportunity from a builder to like design this design center and like meet the clients. And hey, I have a broadcasting diploma. I am in way over my head, but I'm gonna figure this out. And again, we didn't have the likes of like Google to like be able to research things and learn, and YouTube and stuff. So I'm like, scale ruler. I'm like, what do I do with this? And literally hours and hours and hours. Something that would take me now an hour took me 40 hours or something. Like I just remember sitting and like figuring it out and like just putting everything I had into it to make it right, because I just wanted to show up for my builder and wanted them to put their best foot forward. And they knew that. So like that trust, that relationship, like they saw me like put everything into it for them, right? Because I wanted them to succeed. It was less about me succeeding and more about like them succeeding and the project being successful. So like I didn't care if I got paid, not paid. It was just like, I got to make this work, and I don't quite know what I'm doing, but I'm going to spend every dying minute figuring it out.
I love it.
Yeah.
So you're passionate about other people exceeding, or succeeding, excelling.
Yeah.
Is that maintained? Like, is that still the same today? Is that still what drives you today?
It's a huge part of our culture. I am so big on team, so big on collaborate. All I want to do is see like my team rise up. I want to see them do better. I want to see them get houses. I want to see them like in their personal life succeed. I want to see them in their business life succeed. That is my number one driving force, is my people.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How important is it to build a team of people that share that vision?
Oh God, it is so important. I couldn't do what I do without them. And the only reason that I'm doing what I'm doing is because they all share the same vision, and we're all moving in the same direction. They support me, I support them. They want, like, I always have a crazy idea. I'm always like the first person to be like, I have an idea. We're gonna do this. They're like, it gives them, they're like, oh my God, we can't take on any more work. We can't do anything. They're like, okay, what's your idea? We'll do it. If you want to do it, we'll do it. Do you know what I mean? Like it's very shared. They're very involved. You have to have those people. They show up for your clients. Like your business is built because of your client. Like my business, and I think a lot of people's business, there's certain businesses that may not have the same kind of relationship with their clients, but they are the ambassadors to our company, to Designer's Edge, Ateliers Jacob, Quarter Park, Westphalia, whatever it may be. Like my team is our ambassadors. Like they're our brand. Like they go out, and it's because of them that we, get the referrals, and we get, like the builders are happy and the clients are happy. Like, so it's such a big part that they feel supported, because if they feel that way and they know that I'm going to have their back and I'm going to support them and I want them to be their best, they're going to that is just going to amplify when they're dealing with clients, and the clients are going to feel it. They're going to feel that this person's happy at their job. They're passionate about what they do. They want the best outcome for them, like that client, right? And we truly are. Like we do want the best out. Like that's our goal, is to have the best. Like the client has the best possible, like experience.
Do you feel like because you have that strong foundation internally that you're just attracting the right people, both from a client and a staff perspective?
Yes, it's so funny. I like that is like one of my core beliefs. I'm like, so I always say like attracts like. And that is a huge belief of mine because I will hear things in the industry, or I'll hear other firms or hear of other firms, and they have all these problems, or they're not getting paid, or the builder treats them this way, or they're getting sued, or like the list goes on. And I'm like, I step back and I'm always like, but we don't have any of those problems. Like I'm a big believer of energy too. So I'm like, the people that walk through our door, like feel our energy, and they're our kind of people. Like they're laid back. They're like us. Like, do you know what I mean? They just want, like, they want a good product, and they're happy. Like they're rational. Like nobody is upset. Nobody's angry, and because they can see how hard we're trying and how hard we're trying to work for them. But we don't have that client walking through our door that is irrational, pretentious, unrealistic expectations. Like those people aren't walking through doors. And I don't know why. The only way I can explain it, that they're not walking through our door and they're walking through another firm's door, is because we're not attracting that energy. Like we're very calm, and we want to do the right thing by our people and by our clients and our vendors and all of our trade partners and all of our colleagues in the industry. And that's just how we run, and we don't think about it. It's not something that's consciously thought about. You just do it because it's in your blood. It's just how you are. And so I do find that like attracts like. You vibrate at the same energy level, so we're attracting that client base, that builder base. Like those people are walking through our doors because that's who we are.
I love that. Do you think that do you think that the space also plays a big role in that? Obviously, you're designing spaces and that sort of thing, so it's the people attraction for the first part, and then how much does the space play into that, in the decor and that sort of thing?
I think that plays a part. I think it's not as significant as the people, but I definitely think it plays a part because I think, again, like I want our space to feel calm. I want the energy to feel calm. I want it to feel like comfortable. Comfortable is a huge environment. We want people to stay and like have a cup of coffee and feel like they're not being pushed out the door. We want them to, it feels warm and inviting. So I say all those things, and yeah, like that's an important element in design. Like you want your home to feel that way too, right? So I think people relate it that when they come into our space and it feels warm and inviting and somewhere they can sit and chill and have a cup of coffee and not feel rushed, that's how they want their homes to feel too. They want guests to come and feel comfortable. And so I think the space, yes, plays a part. I think it's all tied together with the people, the energy, the space, because I'm a big believer of like, even your space at home should be comfortable. It should be like calming. For me, maybe somebody wants this like really loud, crazy, wild space that's like a ton of noise. And sure, if that's what they want. But for me, and I know I can speak for the rest of the team, we want it like just calm.
Yeah. Are you ever aware when, maybe that's not the case? Maybe there's a bad energy in the room, or the wrong person comes through the door, and if that's the case, how do you deal with that?
Sure. I'm much better at dealing with it now. I guess like as you get older, you get wiser, like you've seen everything, you've been around the block more. I guess you've kind of experienced that, because we've certainly in the past where I was younger and wasn't aware, but that's part of the learning and that's part of the journey. I'm very much in tune with my team's emotions and very much in tune with, I would think, the client's emotion. Now, I don't always meet the clients. In a lot of cases, I don't meet them at all, or many of them. But I think the team also has a good sense of, like the values that we've instilled and talked about. And so if there's an issue, they'll come talk to me and I'll generally get involved. And then sometimes we just say like, you're not a fit. Like maybe it's just not a fit for us. And we're totally okay with doing that. We have a really steady stream of business. We're super fortunate for that. So I am the first person to be like, hey, you're not a fit for us or the team. And maybe I won't use it in those terms, but maybe I'll just say we don't have the bandwidth for you, unfortunately. So, we'd like to, pass on this opportunity or whatever it is, so we can exit gracefully. But Sometimes it is just not a fit. And so I'm pretty in tune. I'm in tune with my team as well, so I can feel if something's off. So maybe they're having a bad experience with a client or a builder. So I'm pretty in tune with that, so I can like reach out and be like, hey, like something seems off, and it's super open door policy. Like I know they all feel comfortable to come in and we can sort it out, like what's going on. Like, and they know that I have their back. But I'm also going to be very reasonable and rational. And we also have to put our clients, we put our team first, and our clients, it's a toss up. Like I want to say we put our clients first, but we actually put our team first, because if you don't put your team first, you can never put your clients first, because it's your team that's really going to give that client experience.
Right. Is the client always right?
No.
Why not?
I will always find solutions, and I will always compromise. And I would never say that the client isn't always right, but I think sometimes clients can have maybe an unrealistic expectation. I think there's a couple things that that they're not always right. And if they're calling and upset, like and saying terrible things to the team, and as I'm thinking about this and why it's is because I have multiple companies, and there's different interactions with clients in every company. With Quarter Park, we don't necessarily pick our clients. We inherit a building or get a building, and it might have 200 residents, and there may be a couple residents in there that are dealing with certain issues that unfortunately they feel they can take out on the team, and that's not right. Designer's Edge and Ateliers Jacob, we have more control over our clients, and that's where we can say we have another fit. We're not a fit. If we have a building at Quarter Park, which is, say there's 200 people here and 300 doors here and 400 doors there, like we can't say, oh, you're not a fit for us. They live in that condominium community and they're an owner and we are the management company. So sorry, when you ask me some questions, I'm like taking it across, like Quarter Park for sure. Like the client is not always right. They don't understand their bylaws. They don't understand RECA. They don't understand the rules of the condominium board. Like, and some of the asks are completely ludicrous, like, and not even something that we can do or is even in our scope of work or is attainable. So no, in that case, in Designer's Edge and Ateliers Jacob, I say, we can control our clients. So we know what we're getting into, and it's a product instead of a service, so it's a little bit different. In some cases, Atelier Jacob's product, Designer's Edge has products and services. So what we'll always do is find a compromise. If there's a dispute, let's say, and I don't want to say a dispute like internally, if there's a dispute like, they ordered this color, they signed off on this color, let's say, but they're unhappy with it. It doesn't make them right. They signed off on it, they saw it, we showed it, they signed off on it. So are they right? No, but they're unhappy. So let's see if there's a compromise. What is the compromise? Is it, okay, let's repaint it. Maybe we split the cost with you. Or maybe we add some wallpaper that'll help tone the color in or something. Maybe we think the color's beautiful and they don't, and that's just a matter of opinion. They signed off on it. So again, that doesn't make them right, but we want them to be happy. So how do we get there?
Yeah, I think there's a really interesting piece there about, sometimes the client just doesn't know. You're the expert, right? They're hiring you because you're the expert.
Yeah.
And so if you're not actually interjecting your own expertise into there, then they might as well just go paint their walls whatever they want. Right?
Yeah, then just do what you want. You don't need us.
Exactly. Do you find, you mentioned in there that you're thinking about these questions from different lenses.
Yeah.
Do you find that there's often synergies between your companies and the way that you kind of make your decisions and the way that you go about things?
For sure. Yeah, there's tons of synergies, and that's the reason that I think they've all kind of started, or yes, there's a lot of synergies across the companies. There's a lot of the same, like leadership, the same team, all of that is the same across the company, across the companies. They all started based out of like trying to solve a problem for somebody, whether it was me or externally. So every company came about to solve a problem for either myself, the team, or an external factor.
I love that. And that's your driving force. That's kind of what and so that's why there are multiple companies? Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
And so explain about like a little bit about each company so I can.
Sure. I'll explain a little bit about each company and then how it kind of started.
Perfect.
So Designer's Edge, we kind of touched on it. Mom had a window coverings company, Blinds Plus. I ended up working at it when I came back from college, and then morphed into doing more design centers and stuff like that. And then I was, young, and I really wanted to like go and get it. And I was like, okay, like I need to go big or I need to go bankrupt. Like I'm not sure. I'm gonna figure it out. And at the time, my mom was, and still is, quite conservative, and she was conservative at the time. And I thought, okay, this is it. I'm gonna start my own company. I had, developed a little bit of a base, and was doing some more design work. And I thought, okay, I don't want to like put anything that she's got at risk. And so then we talked about it, and we decided that she was pretty much ready for retirement. So I'd take the base she built, buy her out. She was very generous. I look back and I said to her the other day, I said, did I really buy you out for that? Like, I feel like I should give you some more money. Like, do you know what I mean? She was super generous and just wanted to see me do well. So I ended up taking over, and then I was really able to grow that side of the company. So Designer's Edge started in blinds, window coverings. I built on the interior design component. We had this like granite shop down the street, and I was like going over, I'm like, hey, do you want to like go in the same showroom space? I was trying to create what I had been building for these builders, which was these design centers that were, kind of all over the city, like in a trailer or in a golf, like a clubhouse, or, like we were moving them as they were moving projects. So I really wanted to like, okay, like if I build it, they will come kind of mentality. So toddled down 3 doors down the street and granite shop. I was like, hey, like if we combined in the same showroom and I had design and you had granite, and then we got, some sinks, then we could be like half design center and da-da-da-da-da. So that was good, did that. And then in 2010, got a really great opportunity. Like I had been talking to people in the industry, and I have a really great group of like individuals that are like friends and colleagues and mentors and all those things. And, we were talking, and he knew I wanted to do this design center. So we got a really great opportunity. He was going to go on his own in the flooring industry. And we got a great opportunity to lease a large space and basically kind of create this vision that I had for this design center. And that was in 2010. We moved into a big building. It was way too big. It was like 30,000 square feet, but we got a really smoking deal on it as long as we did the TIs. And so built out this design center. So vision, like got the vision, I had been working towards that with these little things here and there. And created this design center. And it was great. That really elevated Designer's Edge to that interior design firm, right? Where now I could say to the builder, hey, we've been doing these design centers for you. Look what I got. Like I made a universal design center. Now you can just send your clients in here. So that was fabulous for a year until the building got sold. And they're like, Danielle, you're out. And I was like, oh, okay, got it. Again, like lessons, so many lessons along the way, because like I went into this kind of guns a-blazing thinking, yes, this will be great. This building's been up for sale. And the whole premise was that they could still sell the building. Like I knew full well that the building could still be sold. But like it was such a great opportunity, and I was young, like go big, go bankrupt, like what is it going to be? And so the building was sold after a year. So I was like, okay, like I did all these TIs, put all this work in, and then the building gets sold. So then I moved, I leased a space. Again, blessing in disguise. at the time, I remember it was around Christmas, I was like, oh, the buildings got sold. Like I just like wrapping up like the last final little things. And the rug got torn out from under me, and blessing in disguise. It feels like the world is ending at that point, because I've got to move all over again, and it's big. Like, I mean, we had 30,000 square feet. I mean, I didn't cover every square inch, but I had a lot of stuff to move, and then I've got to find a new space. And so anyways, I was super fortunate. I found a new space and was able to like recreate that design center. So Designer's Edge, not the space we're in now. We moved into this space. We ended up purchasing this building and moved into this space 3 years ago. But that kind of really solidified Designer's Edge as an interior design firm in Calgary. We still kept the window coverings component. And then we also added on the renovations. So we would do renovations, which was just a nice tie-in because we were already doing the interior design. So the renovations component. So that's kind of, in a nutshell, a little bit about Designer's Edge. And then Quarter Park was born about 8 years ago. Again, so Quarter Park Management is condominium management for buildings, condo buildings that are owned. So we manage the common property, the shared property, and we collect the condo fees and pay all your vendors. Like we pay your utilities and we pay your landscaping. And if you want a new contract because you're not happy with waste removal, then we'll get 3 quotes, stuff like that. So that was born out of being friends with developers, and we design. So Designer's Edge designs a lot of condo buildings. So we'll go in and we'll design the lobby, the common spaces, the elevators. We'll design, come up with all the specifications for the suites. Like, are you going to have painted cabinets, or are they going to be these 2 colors, and what are your countertops? So we do that. We do all the furnishings for the show home. And so I'm friends with all these builders because we design all these buildings. And, one of the pain points was they'd always say to me is, you design all these lovely buildings, we build all these lovely buildings, and then we turn over these buildings to a management company. And unfortunately, the management companies in a lot of cases, not all of them, but some of them just aren't familiar with the maintenance and the systems that are required for these large buildings. They don't understand design intent and a bunch of things. And I was thinking, wow, gosh, I think I could do that better. And so I looked at the business model, and I was like, okay, like the business model makes total sense. Like I ran the numbers. I was like, okay, in a down economy, there's more condos. I was like, okay, like I'm friends with all the developers, not all of them, but a good portion that I knew that I'd be able to have some business to start. And then I'm out for lunch with a friend of mine, and he was the former COO of Morrison Homes. He's in the construction industry. And I was telling him these things, and I was like, this is why it's a good, business decision, and this is why it makes sense as a company, and the ROI, and da-da-da-da-da. And he was like, we're sitting across from lunch, and he was like, do you want a partner? And I was like, oh my God, if it is you, yes. So that's how Quarter Park was born, because again, we saw this need to help our developer partners, and because he knew so many people in the industry and was in the industry, so we're just like, we can help them. We can do this better. Like, we know what they want. We speak their language. So 80% of our business today is new buildings, right? And we've got almost 5,000 doors. So like it's grown very successfully, like year over year. So that was Quarter Park. Then jumping back, I'm kind of doing it in order of birth, I guess, for each company. Ateliers Jacob is like a boutique high-end cabinet company. I was approached, it's like 4 years ago now, 5 years ago, time flies. There was somebody that was in town that had the rights for Western Canada. So they're out of Montreal. It's a high-end cabinet shop. It's not as familiar in Calgary as it is out east. Out east, you like look for and you purchase Ateliers Jacob because of the name. So beautiful, beautiful cabinetry. So she had developed this builder list that she'd been working on for a number of years and been in it, but she was moving back east. And so she approached me to see if I was interested in, buying the rights and taking it over and the book of business that she had. And one of our things with renovations, with design, was cabinetry. it's a very big component of design. It's a very big component of renovations, and it's something that I couldn't control. So I was bound to the cabinet shops here in Calgary and their schedule and their timelines and their quality and et cetera, et cetera. So I thought if I owned this, I'd be able to control the process. So again, it was purchased, it was bought, it was thought of, like it kind of morphed into the fact that if I buy this and do this, I can control the process. And so we did. It's been a great ride. I love the cabinetry. We do a lot of work for like custom home builders, very boutique, very high end, super cutting edge. So love that division, and it serves exactly what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be that boutique high end, and I wanted it to be able to control the process for us internally when we do renovations or high end residential clients or any sort of residential clients. So it gives us the ability to do that. Then Westfolio. So Westfolio, I'm kind of jumping back to another brokerage. So Quarter Park is a brokerage. Westfolio is true property management. So that is like your rentals, leasing, like move in, move outs. So like if you think of condominium management, people confuse the two, and they always call condominium management property management. If you think of condominium management, it's the shared properties. We don't go in your suite unless there's an emergency. We're property management, we go in your suite, we rent your suite. So how we got into that is because these builders that we manage their condominium communities, their buildings, it's been pretty known that there's lots of investors coming to the Calgary market, and these Calgary investors, or these investors from Toronto, Vancouver, are buying a lot of Calgary product, and they're buying 5 units here. They're amalgamating them. Couple investors might buy an entire floor or blocks or anything like that. So now our builders are saying to us, okay, you do such a great job managing like our condo buildings. We need somebody to do just as great job to manage our investors' investment and rental units. Will you please start a division? And we were like, no. Will you please start? No. No, fine. So it was kind of like, we're already boots on the ground managing the common property. So this kind of takes it a step further, and we're managing the investor units and their rentals. So again, it's just another service that we can provide to our builders. The service is not for our builders, it's for the investor, but at the end of the day, it gives the investor or the builder the opportunity to refer somebody that they feel is trusted in the industry that can provide a good service and to that investor, and make sure they get in a good tenant and that we'll take care of them. So it gives them a little bit of peace of mind. So that's Westfolio. And then I have this one small other little fun fashion garment apparel company called Bank and Shutter.
All the things.
Yeah, so that's again another story how that all got started, and that's like a super fun story. If you have 5 minutes, we can go into that too.
I'm curious, does it get easier to start companies, or is it always just as difficult to start different companies?
No, it gets easier. Yeah, it definitely gets easier because I have so much knowledge now, and I have all the right key players in place. Like I need a lawyer, I need an accountant, I need my minute book done, I need like a lawyer for this, I need corporate, like whatever it is, like I've got them. They know what I'm doing. They know, like, they just know my system. They know my processes. I've already kind of built every company. Like I like to be vertically integrated, so every company kind of feeds off the other companies. Even where you think like, Westfolio doesn't cross over to Designer's Edge, you'd be amazed that it does, because we might be doing design work for somebody that has investor properties or something like that it just comes up in conversation. So they all cross over and they all collaborate together, but it does get easier because I really have the right people in place that can help me get there. And I know I have much more knowledge about like where to spend the money, where it's going to be efficient, where it's going to be the best bang for the buck, like where can I focus my energy to get the most results. Now the garment apparel company is a little like deviation because I've never done Shopify, e-commerce, anything like that. So that is a little bit more difficult because it's a total brand new platform, but the concept of business is the same. And I enjoy that because it's fun and it's different and I'm being challenged in other ways that I normally wouldn't be.
Love it. Do you find it difficult to determine where your time goes? You know, you're wearing all these different hats and all these different companies, and maybe some weeks this requires a lot of input, and some you know, like how do you choose to manage that?
It just kind of flows. Like there's not really like, it's not like a choice that I think about. It just kind of flows about what's happening at that exact moment in time and who needs like my attention. And so, you know, like we had, you know, I can think of an instance where we had at Quarter Park where I needed to step in and take over like a portfolio, which is, you know, or assist in a portfolio, which is something that I normally don't do. But I was able to like, okay, my team's got this. I'm going to go assist over here and, you know, spend some time over there. And it was just because I have such a good team at Designer's Edge, Ateliers Jacob, that I was able to just really pivot and switch gears really quick and go assist there where they need assistance. So it really ebbs and flows, but there's no like choice. It's just depending on like where each company is at and what it needs.
Yeah. How important is it to be able to kind of maneuver quickly? You mentioned, you know, you were able to jump in there as soon as you were needed.
Yeah.
Sometimes with rigidity and that sort of thing, it's really difficult to do that.
No, you have to move quick. Like you've got to be able to shift gears. I've got like 5 email boxes and I've got to be boom, 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 boom. I've got to be head in Designer's Edge. We got a problem over here. Quarter Park needs this. I have a manager's meeting over here. We need to hire somebody. Like we need more space. I need to look for a building. Like it's very, well for me, like I've got to move quickly and in multiple directions every single day and just like keep it like get this done, move that. But again, I've got really good team, really great people. I've got great mentors, great partners, great colleagues in the industry. Like I could pick up a phone and like call. Like if I had any issue, I would just think about it for a minute. Like who could I call? Yeah, that person. They'll not, like I know so many people from growing up and being raised in Calgary and being in business for so long now. Like it just got such a great team here and such a great external team that I could call anybody for advice. And I know that they would give me advice because they just want to see like me succeed. And it's the same thing with them. I want nothing but like our colleagues, our friends, our team to succeed. So, but yeah, like you got to move quickly. Like it's pivoting. My head's on a swivel ball sometimes. Like, where am I? Who's coming in? What am I doing?
Yeah. Are there tactics that you use to kind of, you know, keep everything straight and managed and you know what's happening every day?
Yeah, so many people ask me that. Like my team asks me that all the time. Like I have no idea how you keep it straight. Like I don't know how you manage through that 5 email boxes, like so much in. I'm super efficient, I would say. I'm a great multitasker, but not to the point that, you know, I'm going to drop the ball or anything like that. But like half the time I'm definitely multitasking. I'm great at delegation to my team. So I think you have to be good at delegation just because there's not enough time. Because I'm really efficient at like, it doesn't take me long. Like if somebody comes to me with a problem, I can probably have a solution or come up with a creative solution fairly quickly. So I don't stay in it for a long time. Like I don't mull over a solution. It's like, okay, I think we should do this. Let's move in this direction. Like I've got no time to like second guess. And I'm not that kind of person anyways. And I don't think you can be that in business too. I think if you spend all your time second guessing yourself, you're never going to get anything done. Like you're going to make mistakes. Like we all make mistakes, but that's just part of learning and growing. And you have to pick a direction. There's a fork in the road. Pick a direction, go in that direction, and like put your energy there. Do you know what I mean? So you really, yeah, like you just quick decisions. Don't don't think about it, like make rational and like meaningful and well thought out decisions, but I don't spend a lot of time on them. I never get into the weeds. Like, let's talk about the problem, what is the solution, and let's move forward. And then you're done. Like, don't dwell on it. Don't think back on it at night, lose sleep over it. Like, that is just not good for anybody. And if you made the wrong decision, then change after when you realize and make it right. And change, pivot. Like, that's all business is. Like, nobody has all the right answers. And you're never going to have all the right answers. And every business is different, and every team is different, and every way somebody leads is different, and the problems are going to be different. But at the end of the day, if you can run ethically, support your team, you know, I'm big on gut, like what feels good. Like if I'm like that doesn't feel good, or like as a client, I wouldn't appreciate that, or as a team member, I wouldn't appreciate. Like, I'm big on that. Okay, that doesn't feel good. Okay, we can't do that. Like, I'm big on that gut instinct.
Learn from your mistakes and feel it out. Yeah, I love it. You mentioned there, don't lose sleep over your decisions. I'm curious, have you ever lost sleep over any decisions that you've made?
Oh, I'm sure when I was younger. Yeah, I don't anymore. Yeah, growing up for sure. Like, and especially, I think like as like you're growing and you're growing your company, like, and you don't have the wisdom behind you and the knowledge behind you, it's like, did I make the right decision? Should I have done that? Like, what's this? Like, or lose sleep over not getting a deal, or like having to move out of the building, right? Like now, like all that stuff's like, I just take it with a grain of salt. Like, everything happens for a reason. I am like a big believer of that, of like manifestation, and everything happens for a reason. So like, I absolutely do not lose sleep anymore. Like, everything is solvable. Everything is solvable. Like, everything is fixable. Like, you know, nobody's like, there's no life or death here. Like, we can find a solution, right? And we will find a solution. So I don't lose sleep over anything.
In those times where, you know, maybe even in early days where you weren't sure what to do or how to proceed or anything like that, what do you have any tactics on, you know, how to go about the next step, how to find that solution?
Putting like I put like myself in the shoes. Like, okay, like if I was in the situation and I was the client, like what would I want? Like, I'm a big like, what would I want? What would I expect? Like, what's reasonable? What's rational? Like, I'm always looking for the win-win. I don't think it's fair. Like, it's totally one-sided. So I'm always looking for the win-win. Like, I'm a big believer of like, okay, like, I'm not sure if, you know, like, if you're right, if we're like, maybe we'll split it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think then both of you have skin in the game. I think both like, so that's like one of the tactics that I use. Like, if you're not sure, you know, like, okay, we're not sure if that happened. We're not sure if you did that. We're not sure if we broke this. We're not sure if like another trade broke that, or like whatever it is, or, you know, we're not sure if that was on the drawings or that was there or whatever. And then I'm a big like, okay, like if we honestly do not know, I'm not going to dig my heels in the sand. It's like, I'm 50-50. Okay, let's, like, if you don't know and we don't know and we can't, like, let's just split it. And I think like that's almost worked every time. I think it's worked every time. I can't think that any, like, in that situation where like it really is a true, like, we're just not sure who's at fault, right? Where I think people like get so hung up and it's like, I have to be right. Like, I need to get like, you know, all of my money back, or like whatever. Like, I think people are very reasonable and rational too. Like, rational where like, if you said split, I don't think there's been a situation where we've offered that and somebody's balked at it or not felt like valued or like heard or like felt like it was unreasonable. I think most people are like, yeah, like that seems super fair, right? Like, I'm not one to be like, and I'm not one like, there's some, I think some mentality out there is like they have to like get every dollar and they have to like, I feel like so giving and so like it's $500 here, $1,000 there, $2,000 there. Like, and I know some of these numbers can add up, but in the grand scheme of things, first of all, it's so much brain damage over it. Like, right? How much time are you spending over that $500, $1,000? How much time could you be spending going out and getting good business, other business, where you're just like fighting over that last nickel? It's not worth it. It's not worth your sanity. It's not worth an unhappy customer. So I just don't get hung up in that. Like, it's the cost of doing business. And I really believe that statement. Like, there is a cost to doing business. You can't be right every time. Like, you can't be perfect. And nor should you, and you're not, right? So in that case, you've got to, like, what is reasonable? What is rational? Like, what would I expect as a consumer, as a client? Like, what would make my experience better? You've really got to think about that as a business owner. Like what would I expect? What would make me happy?
I think that limited mentality can really make or break a business.
Yes. Super agree.
Do you think that's a learned skill, or maybe it just comes naturally to some people?
So I think it's a learned skill, but I think there's some people that don't ever learn it. So I think it can come naturally. I think it can be learned, but I think there's a lot of people that won't ever learn it. They are so focused on the competition. They're so focused on making sure that they're right. They're so focused on what everybody else is doing instead of just what they're doing, and just, providing solutions and doing really what's right, and just coming up with a fair proposition as to how to solve the problem. They get so stuck in their ways. And I want to relate it to the ego. Like, they just have this drive to be right and not give. And that's not going to get you anywhere. And there's so much, I think, negative energy caught up in that. There's no point. So I am quick about making those decisions, moving on. I made the decision, this is what we're going to do, we're going to move on. I don't get caught up over here in those, and especially in the negative emotions. Nobody's got time for that. I don't have time for that. I don't want to bring the team into that. It doesn't feel good externally to the client, right? So you just got to feel your gut and go in that direction.
Yeah, it's spreading positivity. It's doing the right thing, right? You mentioned it, right? I think. Do you think that that's a common trend that everybody's starting to kind of take on in business? Where it maybe used to be a bit of a more limited, I'm alone kind of mindset, and now it's a little bit more collaborative. Or do you think that's changing, or no?
So I'd like to think so. So so we have about a staff of 43, I think, between all the companies, in and about 43, and because it's really all I've known. Except for my limited time at TSN. So all I've known is what I've done, and the leadership that I've brought, and the teamwork that I've brought. So that's always been my mentality. So I don't think any other way. And I don't recognize that there's companies out there that think any other way. But it is so fascinating to me. I have so many, and I call them team members. I don't call them employees, but if you want to, reference as employees, but I call them team members that come to me and are so happy and feel so valued, and have never worked at a place that is felt so good to come into work, that they are happy, that they feel supported, that they've never felt so heard, that they can come into my office anytime, that they're sometimes in tears, that they're just feel like they have family here. And to me, it blows me away, because I just assume that every company, and I don't want to tout our own horn or toot our own horn or anything like that. And it's not about that. It's just that when you ask me that, I just assume that every company's like that. And the more and more staff that we bring on, and the more they sit in one of these chairs and tell me it's not like that out there, makes me super sad for, these people that work in these environments that don't feel safe and protected and have transparency and openness, and feel like they could bring new ideas and collaborate and being part of the team, and that they're, what they're doing is greater than just them, So I feel sad that I assume that there's all the companies are like that, but they're actually not. I think I would like to think it's getting better. Again, I don't really have much knowledge outside of team members coming and talking to me all the time and telling me this. I'd like to think it's getting better with, just the emergence of like people are listening to more podcasts, and there's more Simon Sinek's out there and Brene Brown's and all this stuff. So I think it's changing. But again, I don't look at what anybody else is doing. I just focus on what we're doing, because I feel like that's what I'm working for, is the team and our clients out there. So I don't know what all these companies are doing.
Do you think there's a line between what's acceptable and what's not acceptable as far as your relationship with your team? How far can that go? Can you be best friends? What does that look like?
No, I do think there is a boundary there. I do think you have to support your team. For me, and it's different because I know and I hear of a lot of occasions where they are very close, and we are very close in a work environment. I do think that for me, there's a bit of a boundary there that I maintain, and I think it's just a very professional boundary that I maintain with the team. But in saying that, it's not about, like, they could come and talk to me about anything, and I will always support them. I will always help them, and I will always be there for them. But I won't be the one that always goes out for beers with them, or like, do you know what I mean? If they're going to something else, like, it's just, again, well, first of all, I'm very busy. So I don't really have a lot of time to, go do a ton of extracurricular activities such as that. But for me, there is a boundary.
You've mentioned mentors a couple times. And there's an increasing, throughout conversations like these, we're finding that there's an increasing need for, people to share knowledge with and just have those conversations with. If you were to mentor somebody else, what are some of the key pieces of advice that you'd give?
Oh, okay. Well, I have mentored somebody.
Beautiful.
She's super lovely. Came from a very hard upbringing. I met her when she was 16 and in a group home. I felt that, for me, I felt like I had been raised and grew up in like this middle-class family, super lovely, loving, supportive environment. And I really wanted to, I guess, again, it was for me to see that not everybody gets brought up in that. Like, again, being sheltered, like we are here, like I was talking about, I didn't realize these other companies. I really felt like I needed to see that, like, okay, not everybody was raised the same way that I was raised, and didn't have a loving mom and dad and sister and felt supported. So I ended up volunteering. Was 16 in 2012? 2008, 2012. So 2012, so I've worked with her for 12 years now. And she's phenomenal. She's amazing. She volunteers. A couple years ago, she worked here she's turned her life around, like 180. She's worked in the office. She volunteers like at our Stampede parties. Like, she's incredible. So, like, thinking back, I guess, to the advice that I gave her, and still give to this day, I think she had such a tough upbringing. She really feels like the world's against her at that time she did. And I can think of other people, that have come to me that feel that way. So I'm not using this as specific to her. And I think so. The advice that I would give is that, like, it's not against you. It's like what you make of it. Like, you can rise above this. Like, this does not define you. Like, what has happened, in your past, currently, like, that should never define you. Don't let it define you. You can be whoever you want to be. Like, there should be no limits. Like, I'm a big believer of no limits. I will pick up the phone and call anybody, any day, no matter, what their status is. I believe we're all the same. Like, we all put our jeans on at the end of the day. Like, you hear that saying, or put our shirts on. But, like, I will pick up the phone. I will email the president of chapters, which I did. Do you know what I mean? Because I was like, I need to tell you this. Da-da-da. Like, to me, we're all just people. And they get so stuck that they can't do this, or they can't get this job, or they're not good enough for this. But that's like bogus. Like that's crazy to me. Like I can't even fathom that. Like you can do whatever you want. There is absolutely no limits to what you can do if you just put your mind to it and you believe you can do it. So again, it doesn't matter your upbringing. It doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter if you have $5 in your pocket or $5,000 in your pocket. Like you have the same opportunity. It may look a little bit different on how you get there, but you can get there, I assure you. So don't focus on the negative. Like you really have to focus on the positive. Like what positive things have happened in your life? Like why is that a blessing? Like what happened to, I'll use it as like, I use it as an example. Like my dad was killed when I was 17. And like, there in the morning and gone at night. And like, it's so, people are like, I'm sorry. And it's so tragic and this, but like, I look at it now and I go like, I'd never want, I would do anything to have my dad back. But at the end of the day, it made me who I am. I don't believe I would be in the same position that I am now if that didn't happen. And the only reason I think that is because I think that happened at 17. I grew up instantly. I had to be more independent. There were so many things that it did for me as an individual that I think created this like drive in me and this independence in me to get me to where I am now. I think that's a fork. Like I would have maybe could have taken a different path. Like, so I think you've got to look at everything. My biggest piece of advice for them or for anybody is like, you can do anything you want. You can be anybody you want, but like take the positives. Look at what the world is giving you, not like, look at what opportunities are being presented to you. Like the world is working for you, not against you. You really have to believe that.
Was there somebody to give you that advice at 17 when you needed it?
Not that I can remember. Of course, my mom was instrumental and my sister, but they were also going through their own things. But my mom really did still shower me and my sister with love and attention, and was very much instrumental in making sure that we got through that, with the grace and the love and the support that we needed. So she was instrumental. She was going through her own thing of losing her husband that she's been with, and my sister was going through, her own journey with that. While it may be similar, it's still different. Everybody has a different journey. But I would say, yeah, like, and that is bonded. Like me, my mom, and my sister, like the three of us are super, super close. So I don't know. I know I've got that advice from my mom, like all through the years, like you can be anything you want, you can do anything you want. Like, do you know what I mean? I think at the time, it was like the love and the support from like the family and like the surrounding family, and then us as like kind of like the three, we bonded really, and just the support from my sister and my mom was instrumental. But I don't think anybody said that to me at that moment that I can recall. I'm sure some people did. Maybe I was in grief, so I can't quite. There's not a moment that I can think that was really defined that for me. I think that has kind of come to me, over the years, and thinking back and looking at all these situations, instances that have happened in your life, and like what is the blessing from that? Like, what did you learn? How did you grow? How did that make you better? Or like, like what did it teach you? So really taking every big defining moment and really putting meaning to it. Like, what did that do for you, right?
Do you think that experience at that age had a significant impact on the way that you look at life today?
Yes, for sure. Because I think too, at 17, you think you're invincible. You think your parents are invincible. You think nothing ever bad is going to happen. Again, coming from like a middle class family, loved, supported, very, safe, and you really don't anticipate something like that happening. So there's a lot of lessons. Like, one, life is short. Life is so short. People just, it can be taken away like that. You could die. I could die leaving here tomorrow. Like, you really have to live your life and make choices that are going to allow you to live the life that you want to lead. Like, don't take tomorrow for granted. Like, I'm a big believer of, like, you know, you should do, like, if you want to start that business, start that business. Figure out a way to, like, don't just talk about it, figure it out. Like, talk to, you know, like, there's so many other people that you can talk to or reach out to, like, reach out to your network, start collaborating. So, yeah, I'm a big believer that life is too short. Live for the moment, be present. Don't take tomorrow for granted. That is kind of like one of the biggest things. Like, really, if you want to do something, do it. Please do it. Don't regret it. Don't regret it. And you think you have all these years, and you don't. Like, you have now, right now, in this moment. So do what you want to do.
Awesome. What does success look like to you?
Okay. Success. I mean, I define success by also the success of my team, right? So for me, it's them being successful. It's seeing them happy, seeing them growing in their careers and their personal life. That's a big piece for me, right? I am so driven by what I do. I'm so driven to do what I do in a large part for them, to ensure that, you know, they can go and do what they want, or they can, you know, afford to buy a house, or whatever it may be. Like, so that's a big part of what I value as success, is that they're happy and they're growing. And I think we're, like, for success too, I think we're growing as a company and changing and evolving. Like, I never want to be static. I always want to be moving, growing, changing, adapting, pivoting. Like, that's fun for me, right? I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about business. So that, I would say, just to continue on that path of growing the team and ensuring that they're supportive and taken care of, and they, you know, have a great life.
Can you give us any sneak peeks as to what's coming up for you?
Well, one sneak peek, which I'm super excited about, is that Bank and Shutter, so the garment apparel company, which is just a fun little passion project. We are now in a store in LA, and we're doing a pop-up shop. So, like, it's funny. I'm super excited about this garment apparel company because like, I'll be signing a big check and I'll get this, like, cha-ching on my phone, and it's like somebody just bought like a $70 t-shirt, and I'm like, yes, it's working, right? So that's super fun for me because it's so different in the term of, like, it's a different transaction. It's a different customer. You're not actually interacting with a customer. You're trying to gain leads on Instagram or whatever, these social media platforms that I don't even understand, but, like, you get traction. And so I'm super thrilled that Bank and Shutter is in a store in LA, and then we're going in a pop-up shop in a downtown hotel for 3 months in LA. So that's fun because it's different, right? So that's kind of like a little sneak peek. So if anybody's in LA, they can look up Bank and Shutter. And then sneak peek in terms of what we're doing here. Well, we're looking at potentially expanding and buying another building. That's one kind of option. And depending on what we do with that building, if we, like, totally redesign it and move all the companies in, or move a division in, or something like that. So that is kind of something that we're looking at for the future. What what else? Did you say 3 or 2?
However many you'd like. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, that's a good start.
It's so fun to see what people get excited about, like you said, writing a huge check over here, but a $70 sale over here is what sets you over the moon. So
yeah,
that's a good lesson, I think. It's not all in the big things, right? So
no, it's not. It's in the little things. As long as like if you work hard at it and then you start seeing success, that's the rewarding part. It doesn't have to have a monetary value to it. It's just that somebody is purchasing or liking or investing time or whatever it is into something that you created, right? And that you're growing.
Yeah. Where can we send people to follow along your journey the next?
Oh, okay. Well, there's a few Instagram accounts, and I'm not even going to get them all right. I'm not even going to get them all right. And if you just look them up at because I don't unfortunately run our social media, so I just plug it in. So there's Designer's Edge, Ateliers Jacob. I think it's designersedge.yyc. There's Ateliers Jacob YYC or A Jacob YYC. Bank and Shutter has an Instagram. They all have websites as well too. Quarter Park and West Folio both have some social media presence, but it's pretty minor just because our business is just constantly referral based through the door, so we don't do a ton of social media there, and Quarter Park doesn't have a ton of pretty things, neither does West Folio as much as design and cabinetry and the graphic tees are. So I would say Designer's Edge. You can follow me personally. I am Danny Paul, Danny. I post various things on there just about my life and journey, but it's an open account, so anybody can follow it. So those are kind of some LinkedIn. Anybody could reach out to me and ask me anything. I'm more than happy to share anything with them. They can reach me through any one of our info boxes, like contact us at any one of those businesses. And if they just ask for me and say that they saw the podcast and they had a question, I'm super happy to answer anything that I can help with or answer any questions that they have.
Amazing. We'll put all the links. We'll put all the links everywhere. It'll be great.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Danielle. This was amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for being open to all the questions and sharing your positivity.
Yeah,
Appreciate
and thanks
that.
for your time.
Thank you.
And your guys' time.